Those of you who followed my other 98 videos know by now that I really love Fort Wilderness. I also really love the Magic Kingdom. And those of you who frequent the Fort Wilderness Campground will also know that there's no bus transportation to the Magic Kingdom from there. Nope, the only way to get there is a resort motor cruiser. There are 3 motor cruisers at Disney World: the Bon Voyage, the Castaways, and the one shown here, the Mermaid 1. No, there's no Mermaid 2. And for the most part, they're handicap accessible. Now there is an exception, but we'll wait until the end of the video to discuss that. But hey, let's face it, even if you're not staying at Fort Wilderness Campground or at the Wilderness Lodge, you gotta admit, the resort cruisers are really kinda cool. And you get to see some things at a completely different angle than what you're used to seeing. So stick with me as we check out all the details of the resort motor cruisers at Walt Disney World. We'll start with this one. It's the Mermaid 1. And although it is a Castaways class motor cruiser, it is a little different from the other 2. Now, the second easiest way to tell the Mermaid from the other 2 are right here. It only has 2 lines instead of 3. The easiest way to tell? Well, it's a completely different color than the other 2. You see, the Bon Voyage, or Bonnie, is yellow, and the Castaways is a dark blue. And our boat, the Mermaid 1, is a teal color. At least that's what Disney calls it. But the real Disney magic on her is on the inside. See, on both the Bonnie and the Castaways, the stairways going up onto the bridge come out the sides, and they can really interfere with the movement of a wheelchair getting on and off the ship. But on the Mermaid, they come down in the rear into the passenger compartment and make maneuvering a wheelchair way easier. This change was suggested by the boat captains when the Mermaid was built in 1995. You see, the Bon Voyage and the Castaways were built at the central shops here at Walt Disney World, whereas the Mermaid was built by the Morgan Yacht Company in St. Petersburg, Florida. Now, some people will tell you it was built in Woodland Hills, California, but that's just because that's where the parent company of Morgan is located. And even that parent company, Catalina Yachts, has closed up their Woodland Hills operations and moved all of their operations here to Largo, Florida, where they're once again putting out yachts under the Morgan name. So let's go over the loading procedures, because they're a little different from other forms of Disney transport. You see, they don't use a ramp, and there can be a pretty big lift. So basically, they make everybody move over to the side of the ship to lower that side into the water. And that should minimize the lift that you have to go up in order to board with a wheelchair. Now on the Bonnie and the Castaways, you gotta sit up front. But on the Mermaid, you can sit back in the passenger compartment. You know, like normal people. And those passenger compartments hold a lot of people, with additional seating on the bow and even more seating on the stern. So how many people do they hold? Let's take a look. I believe the technical term for that is a lot. Okay, so how many of you out there have actually taken a bus to or from the Magic Kingdom? You can go ahead and put your hands down. This is a video I can't see anyway. Did you ever notice that just before you get to Contemporary, you go through a little tunnel? It's not really an underpass because the roadway above you isn't elevated at all. And that's because it's not a roadway. It's called a water bridge. And, well, in the resort cruiser, you're going to get to see that water bridge from a whole different vantage point. Because it connects Bay Lake and the Seven Seas Lagoon, the 2 bodies of water that are outside of Fort Wilderness and the Magic Kingdom, respectively. Here's a completely different view of the water bridge from the monorail. You can see both World Drive and the water bridge. You also get to see the monorail from a whole different perspective, from underneath as it heads into the Contemporary Resort. And these are just 2 of the sights that you'll see as you have a nice, peaceful cruise on the resort motor cruiser headed to Fort Wilderness. Oh yeah, and also the Wilderness Lodge. So you have to know which cruiser to get on. And as we learned from our video on the Sassagoula Steamboat Company, it all comes down to the pennants. Now, you're not going to have any problems over at Magic Kingdom. I mean, after all, it's really easy to read the signs as to which boat you need to get on and which side of the stanchions you need to be. Now, over at the Wilderness Lodge, you might be tempted to get on the blue flag, but those are the resort launches, and as far as handicap accessibility goes, well, you can't get on with an ECV or a power wheelchair. Nope, you want to look for the red pennant over there. And believe me, over at Wilderness Lodge, you won't have any problems finding the boat docks. It's just a leisurely stroll down a nice wooded boardwalk, and then you're there. Perhaps with, I don't know, several hundred of your closest friends. So on these occasions, if you can transfer and you have a collapsible wheelchair, and the rest of the members of your party are fully able, I'd take the launch over to Magic Kingdom. Hey, there's the Castaways, bypassing Wilderness Lodge on the green pennant line headed to Fort Wilderness Campground. Well, that line connects the Magic Kingdom directly with Fort Wilderness Landing, the marina, over at Clementine's Beach at the campground. You remember that? In a previous video, we rented a pontoon boat here to ply the Seven Seas and Bay Lake itself. Now, on a normal day, there'll be one cruiser going over to Wilderness Lodge and 2 cruisers on the Fort Wilderness Campground route. And remember, the Bonnie and her 2 companions are free-floating vessels. There is no rail that they're on, like the riverboat over in Magic Kingdom. It also means they can get a little rough during inclement weather. Luckily, that never happens here in Florida. Nope, sunshine and butterflies all year long, and the occasional hurricane here and there. Now, one of the problems we experienced while staying at Fort Wilderness is we made reservations for dinner over at the Contemporary. And as we said, the cruisers don't go there. Only the motor launches go there. I mean, I guess we could go over to the Magic Kingdom and walk over to Contemporary, or you could just talk really, really nice to the crew. Remember, they're free-floating vessels, and they can go pretty much anywhere they want to on the lake.
See, we can make this one.
So, if they're not too busy and the crew can accommodate you, they'll drop you off over at the dock at the Contemporary Resort. Then there's no need to miss your dinner reservations. And you don't have to walk all the way from the Magic Kingdom. Although I gotta tell you, the dock itself, well, it's a pretty good walk to the back of Contemporary. Oh yeah, and that exception I told you about at the beginning, well, that doesn't happen too often here in Florida. It's during times of drought, the lake levels will drop, and then you just can't get onto the resort motor cruisers. But aside from that, you get to see all kinds of stuff. You'll even get to see the abandoned river country and the abandoned Discovery Island. Emmy knows what she wants for Christmas. She wants your likes and comments. I hope you enjoyed the video too, and that you'll choose to subscribe to the channel. And remember, when you do subscribe, don't forget to click on that bell icon. That way you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.